Welcome to a fast tutorial on the basics of building a raft and controlling it. If you're brand new to the game, this is the video for you because we're going to go over basic camera movements and then dive right into building a small raft with minimal components to be able to do a manual control with a vehicle controller or AI control with a mainframe. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the designer mode and get started. When you first launch your designer mode, you're going to start with this small starter craft. Go ahead and hit escape, destroy all vehicles, and delete everything. Hit escape again, and now you're in a fresh environment where you can build a new vehicle. When you're in this mode, you'll notice that you start in a first-person view. You hit tab, you go to third person. The WASD keys will move, space and alt will move up and down, and the mouse will scroll around. So now we have third person view. We hit tab, we can go back to first person view, and we can control our Rambot avatar. But you notice he'll just fall right into the water. If I hit tab again to go to third person, we'll notice that the camera's tied to the player still. So I'm gonna hit E twice, and that puts me into a world camera mode. And when the world camera, I can still move it around, but I'm not tied to a vehicle or the player at all. And everything will be stabilized in this view. So now when I'm in this view, I'm just going to go ahead and start building my first vehicle. In order to do that, all you have to do is press B. B is going to put you in build mode, and it's going to start off with just a single wooden cube. And they'll start falling down from wherever you built it into the water. Because it's made of wood, it's going to float. There are all kinds of materials in this game with different densities. Some are greater than water, some are more buoyant than water. So wood is a great one for building a raft because it's going to float. If I hit caps lock, it's going to freeze it and bring it up out of the water so that you can work on it and build with it. Hit caps lock again and it'll go right back down to the water so you can test its buoyancy. So I'm going to go ahead and hit caps lock and show you how to do the basics of building. You just have to point at anywhere on the vehicle and right click to build, left click to delete. If you hit E, you can get all the blocks in the game. So here's a menu of all the pieces and materials. I'm just going to go to the blocks tab, go to wood, and here's all the different types of wood that you can build with. I'm going to go to a 4-meter beam. And now when you select a 4-meter beam, you'll notice that you can place that beam and remove it. But if you want to rotate it, you're just going to hold tab. Hold tab, and then you have axis of movement around where the location of the beam is. So if I hit W and S, we'll rotate around the green. If I hit Q and E, I'll rotate around the blue. If I hit A and D, I'll rotate around the red. And I'm going to go ahead and build a very basic beginner raft using just the basic functions of building by right-clicking. And once we get to a point where we have a raft that we're happy with, we'll just go ahead and hit caps lock, bring it down into the water, and see that it floats. Now, it's not going to be very stable because it's very light and very small. If I hit caps lock again, I'll bring it up, but you can see that there's no control, there's no propulsion. It's just a very basic wooden raft. Now we're going to get to a point where we're going to start building on this raft. We do want to pay attention to the direction of the arrows on our blocks. So when I'm in build mode and I'm looking at my raft, you'll notice that there's an arrow. That arrow points to what the game considers as the front of the vehicle. So this is the front of my raft and this is the back of my raft. So when we're building, we just have to keep that in mind, that which direction am I building. And if you do it wrong, a lot of beginners do, if you build the ship backwards, you just save the raft, save the vehicle, and then reload it. When you load it in, it gives you an option to rotate it. I won't go over that now, but it's just something to keep in mind. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about propulsion, right? So we need to find a way, how do we get this thing to move forward and backwards? And this is going to be a ship, so all I need to do is have a propeller. Go to the E menu and go to water. I have a propeller circular that I'm going to use for this craft. And all I have to do is place it on the back, and you'll see that the propeller is now connected to the back of the craft, and the plan is to just have it push or pull our craft forwards and backwards. The problem is this is going to be in and out of the water, and a propeller does not work when it's out of the water. It must be in the water. So what I'm going to do is hit R, and I'm going to copy this piece, and I'm going to rotate it down so that I can have this propeller placed under the water. So go ahead and place it again. Now we have a propeller under the water, but it's not rotating, right? So we have a means of thrust, but no power to run that means. If I hit Q, you'll see I can manually try to control the drive, but nothing's going to happen. There's no power. And when you're dealing with power and from the depths, there's a whole lot of different ways that you can create power. Just for example, you can go into the resources and create power with an RTG. You can go to a fuel engine, create power using fuel. You can go to the steam engines and create power with several different types of sizes of steam engines using material. So I think the basic, most simple power we can generate is going to be a simple one-cylinder fuel engine generator. And in order to build a fuel engine, you always need to start with the fuel engine generator piece. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to rotate it so that it'll place upright on my raft, and there'll be a little knob on one side. And that knob will point the direction of the engine, the direction towards where I'm going to build that engine. So I'll place the generator, and now I need a crankshaft. Next piece, pretty much always when you're building a fuel engine, is going to be that crankshaft from the generator. And it just goes straight out from the engine. I can't connect it to the side or go up or down. It's just going to go straight out. And then the next piece, all I need is place one cylinder on this crankshaft. So I don't need this many. I just need one cylinder, one crankshaft. Place it right on that crankshaft, and now we have an engine that can provide, it's about 20 power per cylinder. And now you'll notice I don't have any power at all yet, and the reason is because I don't have any fuel. An engine can't produce power without fuel. So I'm going to go back to the E menu, go to Resources tab, and find Fuel Storage. Place that anywhere on the craft, doesn't have to be near the engine, and now suddenly I have power. You'll notice on the right side here I have 20 maximum power, 15 power available because 5 power is being used by the propeller. Now the propeller is rotating. And really, this is all you need for forwards and backwards movement. I can press Q menu and I can control the movement backwards or forwards of this propeller. Now that's not the best way to do this. If you want manual control, the best way is actually to use a vehicle controller. And if I go ahead, click E, and I go to Control, here's the vehicle controller. I can place that on my vehicle. I just won't be able to use it until my avatar, my first-person player, is near the vehicle controller. And in order to get him to the vehicle, the easiest way is to place a chair anywhere on the vehicle, and I'm just going to place it right in front of the vehicle controller. And I'm going to get out of build mode and press tab to find where my avatar is. If I press M to go to the map view, I can click on my vehicle in the map and go to this little icon with the player in the halos. And when I click on that, he'll move to the vehicle. Press M again, and now I'm in the chair. So I hit tab and go back to third person view. If I hit E, remember I talked about the world view, you can see the world view, I'm not tied to the vehicle. If I press B, now I am, but I can put it back into, I can freeze it up in the air by hitting caps lock again. So there's our vehicle with the basics of power, the resources for that power, the propeller, and the vehicle controller. So if I place this down in the water, and you'll notice with the player near the vehicle controller, I have the controls displayed on the upper left. All I need to do is press U or J, and now I can control where the raft goes forwards and backwards. But you'll notice I have no control left or right yet. That's because I don't have a rudder. So in order to do that, back to build mode, I'm going to place a rudder. It's in the water section, rudder. And as long as it's somewhere in the back of the vehicle where it's touching the water or mostly in the water, it will work. And then let's go back to the player here and see if I have any control. If I hit U to go forwards, hit K to go to the right, vehicle turns to the right. I'm going to go to the world view so you can see this easier. Hit H to go left, it'll turn left. If I hit J, it'll go backwards. If I hit U and J at the same time, it'll kill it. And so main drive is 0, but we're still getting movement. I think that's because I need to go to the settings of our propeller and go to pusher preset. And there we go. Let's try that. So now if I hit U, forwards, J, backwards, and if I hit them both at the same time, we stop. So now we have all of the controls of a very basic ship. This is everything you need for manual, but we don't have any way to control the mainframe, because there isn't a mainframe. If I'm telling it on the map by right-clicking to go somewhere like the resource zone, you'll notice it's not responding at all. I click to go this way, no response. So we only have manual controls at this point. So what I'm going to do is I just have to place a mainframe. I'm going to press B, go back into build mode, E to go to the menu, go to AI, and mainframe. Now, every vehicle is going to need a mainframe. I think once the mainframe is destroyed, your vehicle, that's what determines that your vehicle is AI dead, and it will end up despawning in the campaign. So you do need to have a mainframe for all your vehicles. I'm going to place one here. And now once I've placed the mainframe, I hit Q menu. I just have to view it and hit Q. It'll open up the maneuver settings, and I just go to maneuver and add maneuver and just do add ship or tank. Once you do that, you've activated the ship AI, and now I'm going to go back to view it, and you'll see that it's going right to where we told it to. So it's going towards the resource zone like we told it to on the map, and it's trying to keep its course as steady as it can, but it is overcompensating quite a bit on the yaw direction. The rudder controls our yaw. And as soon as it goes too far to the right, it says, oh, full power to the left. And then as it goes to the left, it gets too far, and then it says, okay, full power to the right. And that's just a very basic proportional controller that it has right now, which is just go left, go right. So what we want to do is we want to stabilize this, and it's really very simple. It's not as complicated as a lot of people would make it out to be, because all you have to do now is add a PID from the AI tab anywhere near the mainframe. So it has to be touching the mainframe or an AI connector to the mainframe. And when you connect that, you can go to the Q menu of the mainframe, go to PIDs, and you'll see from the PID controller screen you have one PID connected. That's all you need to be able to run any one of these. I'm going to go to yaw and hit enable. When I close this, you'll notice now, if I'm going to, let's go to map menu, tell it to go this direction, it's going to turn to that direction, and it's going to keep its course now steady. So now it's stabilized, and that's all you need. That's just the basics of the AI control for a ship. Now there's a lot more you can do for different controls, putting thrusters in different directions, and stabilizing it in different axes. But this is just all the basics that you need to know as a beginner and from the depths for power, control, and AI on a ship. Now, one of the things you'll notice about this is it's not going very fast. So we can do a couple of things to upgrade this. We can try adding more power. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to add a bunch more propellers, which is one way to do it. and then you'll see, okay, now we've got much more thrust, but you'll notice that they're not actually running at full. Well, they're not running at full percentage because we've actually ran out of power. So if you notice, we're using all 20 of our power, and if each one of these are using 5, that's 35 power needed. So in order to increase power in a fuel engine, it's real simple. Just add another cylinder. There we go. So now we have 40 power available, or 40 power total. 35 of that power is being used, and now we've got a lot more thrust on our vehicle. But the problem is we're not really going a lot faster because we're hitting the waves so hard, and we have a very bad drag profile here. If I click the middle mouse wheel, I have different options to view different settings, different components of the vehicle or profiles. And here is a drag profile. If I click that, you can see everything's red. Red is the worst. It's bad. The drag profile for this is a brick wall. So I do need to work on increasing the drag profile by giving it some slopes. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And one of the tricks I'm going to use that you can do is go to any block and hit N. It'll create a mirror mode, and with mirror mode now you can build on one side and it'll copy it on the other. If I hit R, I can copy a block and build it again. So I'm going to go ahead and build out the front. I won't edit this so you guys can see what I do. And I'm going to add slopes to the sides. And we do get a little bit more speed out of that. It's a little bit better, but we'll notice we've got a lot of flat edges under here. So I'm going to add some more slopes to the bottom. And now we've kicked up in speed. So now we're looking at somewhere between 15 and 20 miles an hour, or meters per second, sorry. So now our ship is basically a speedboat. And so now we've got extra power, extra thrust, we've got yaw control, it's stabilized. So when I go to the map mode and I want to go to the resource zone, it will automatically control it, or I can manually control it just by going to the person, the player, the avatar, and bringing it near the wheel. If I pull it away from the wheel, I lose all my controls. If I get anywhere near it, I have my manual controls, and I can just take over and steer the boat. If I go out of that, the AI will start taking control again. And here it goes. Aiming it towards the resource zone. It's trying to keep it steady. The PID is doing the best it can. But it is also hitting the waves and going pretty fast. But that's it. That's the basics. So I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope you'll see my next tutorials as we dive deeper into more of the granular details of each of the parts of a craft and how to optimize each part. So have a good day, everyone, and I'll see you next time.